Hello, my name is Dorthe Døjbak Håkonsson. I'm an associate professor at Aarhus University in Denmark and a member of the organizational design community. ODC is an international community of scholars, managers and organizations interested in advancing the theory and practice of organization design. Anything you can think of can be designed. The products you use, the companies that you work in. Organizational design is crucial to the success of firms, and ODC has planned a series of interviews regarding key aspects of organization design. Today, I'm interviewing Professors Burton and Obel. Professor Burton is Professor Emeritus at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University, and currently he's a visiting professor at the Interdisciplinary Center for Organizational Architecture at Aarhus University. Previously, Professor Burton was Senior Editor at Organization Science. Currently, he is an Associate Editor at the Strategic Management Journal and Point of View Editor at the Journal of Organization Design. Professor Obel is Professor at Aarhus University. He's the Director of the Interdisciplinary Center for Organizational Architecture, which he started in 2011. Prior to that, he was the Dean of the Aarhus School of Business. Professor Obel is co-editor of the Journal of Organization Design. Professors Burton and Obel, thank you so much for joining us today. You're probably best known for your work with the Multicontingency Model, which was first introduced in your 1995 book, Strategic Organizational Diagnosis and Design, Developing Theory for Application. Can you tell us what the Multicontingency Model is?
Thank you, Dorthe, for a very generous introduction. The Multicontingency Model is a holistic model, systems model if you like, that is really oriented towards practice and the integration of elements in organization design, strategy, structure, people, and technology. The origins of our multi-contingency model, of course, rests upon earlier contingencies theory on structure and strategy and so on. And in this multi-contingency model, which is a greater emphasis on managerial things, the part that is very practical about it is the development of the contingencies, of the interdependency of the contingencies, and the notion of fit, that is to say how they all fit together. For example, do the incentives fit together with the organization structure? This managerial approach is at the heart of what we tried to do, and it leads us very much into working with executives and with executive MBAs.
Well, the multi-contingency theory is, as Rich said, a collection of interdependencies for the single contingencies. So to put it together, we needed a theory or a way to do that. And we've used the information processing paradigm to find a way to define and state the various contingencies with the same concepts and a set of relationships that allowed us to put it into one single model. Another issue of the multi-contingency theory is that from the analysis of empirical situations, we find that there's a very strong relationship between what Rich called fit and performance. So if the various contingencies and the various design parameters are fit, the organization will perform much better than if there is a misfit.
The first versions of your book on strategic organization design also included ORCON. Can you tell us what ORCON is and how you came to develop it?
The ORCON is an expert system that can diagnose and design organizations. The ORCON is a system that actually takes the multi-contingency theory and put it into computer software. It also allowed us to find a way to bring the various rules and theory parts of the multi-contingency theory into a consistent way so we could actually get the full analysis of all the various parameters in the model. if you take the multi-contingency theory instead of a single contingency theory, the design process becomes much more complex. So to have a tool that can actually help you make the diagnostic and figure out the kind of design that is appropriate for a particular situation, it takes the complexity out of the design process.
And you ask about the development of the ORCON and also the development of the multi-contingency model. They were very intertwined in terms of our thinking because we developed the ORCON in conjunction with the theory, in conjunction with the book. So they are very much intertwined. At the same time, each stands alone. That is to say, you can read the book without doing the ORCON, or you can use the ORCON without the book.
You also have a more recent book called Organizational Design, a step-by-step approach. Is this book related to your previous work?
The two books that we have written are very much related. They are based on the same theory and the same processes. But when we developed this step-by-step approach book, we saw a need from executive MBA students in particular that would like to have a book where we presented the theory in a way that actually led it to be used in practice. So that is one of the relation. Further, in writing the second book, we also had the opportunity to enhance the model to include more dimensions in the multi-contingency theory.
And I think in part of this, writing the book for MBAs and for practitioners, the development of a set of 2x2s in which it then became easier to illustrate misfits in the organization and to deal with them became a central part of that. And this also led to diagnostic questions which are related to questions in the ORCON, but within the later book are easier to deal with, and we find then actually are quite encouraging to the MBA students to apply these concepts back in their own organization.
You're both members of the ODC. Why did you want to participate in this community?
Well, we found that being part of founding the organizational design community was a natural next step. We had over a number of years participated in organizing workshops on organizational design issues, and out of these workshops came a series of books. So at the point of time where we founded the organizational community together with a large group of colleagues, it was a natural next step to formalize the relationship that we have built up over a number of years. Further, we found that there was a need to more strongly put the organizational design ideas, theories, and application on the map, because that is an important part of running an organization today.
I think also that for me personally, that having practitioners central in the organization design community is very helpful to us who are in the academic world to understand what we're doing better, to ask our own questions better, to have their questions, and to listen to how it is that they deal with the problems that they have in organization design.
You're also known for your work in simulation models to investigate organizational design issues. How is that work related to your multi-contingency model?
Dorthe, I'm glad you asked. Simulation modeling, as you suggested, is very central to our whole development over these years. And we view simulation modeling as a laboratory for doing experimentation. And experimentation in the sense of investigating the rules, the propositions that are in the multi-contingency model, and also in taking the word design seriously is to look at what might be. That is not just to explain what has happened in the past, but to explore new possibilities. In our work with you, we've investigated virtual organizations in this light.
In our multi-contingency theory, we have a set of rules that relates the contingency variables to the design variables. Many of these rules we tested in our simulation studies. So in that sense, we have tested and enhanced the theory that we put into our multi-contingency theory. Further, we see a simulation model as a part of a triangulation approach, so we can address issues using empirical studies, using simulation studies, using laboratory studies. And to tie the various methods together actually enhances and strengthens the basis for making recommendations.
What do you see as the major challenges for organizational design research in the future?
I think the future of organization design has to put an emphasis on design. And design is about the future, what of things that are possible, the what might be that we talked about just a second ago. And in this is that the world of design, if you like, is much larger than the world of the past or what it is that we've explained. And if we again turn it back to practice, sometimes we've been criticized for explaining very well what went wrong 10 years ago, but not doing well in laying out possible futures and how that we might think about them and test them and think them through. And so this requires, in some sense, a different mindset, of a design mindset, if you like, of looking at what is possible and then making it real.
The world of design and the future of design also has to look at not only designing what should be in the future, but also implementing it in the future. So one of the great challenges in the future is to move from thinking about design and diagnosing issues actually to get it implemented. And it has to be implemented much faster than earlier in a world of dynamic change. All these issues that we bring up here was also one of the reasons why we were part of founding the organizational design community that would like to bring practitioners together with academics and look forward to solve the design issues of the future.
Professors Burton and Obel, thank you so much for joining us here today.